Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's April 25th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And again, today I have another obligation here shortly, so I'm going to have to move through this quicker than I'd like to, but I just can't help it. I've got something else going on today. And but let me just quickly show you. Today we had a continuation of the sell-off early on, and then we found support here and we reversed. And so this is not a strong reversal, but we reversed and trended upward the rest of the day. There's a lot of sideways action in here too. It looked like it might actually end up being a range day, but by the end of the day, we were pushing on higher. This channel continued to work higher. It got a little iffy right in here, but we pushed on through there and just kept on going higher. So this might just be a correction and a bigger downtrend, or we could reverse from here and trend up again. But this is, I'd call this a slight reversal day, although it could just be a correction and not necessarily a reversal, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But I'm going to back out, go through the trades. I'm going to move through them pretty quickly, unfortunately, but most of this is pretty straightforward today. When I came in, we were still trending down. Actually, we were correcting here. We had a little overshoot, so that generally tells you you're going to have a break relatively quickly. And notice we're moving up. We turned down right off of that. Uh, Going into the 7 o'clock hour, we were correcting, and you get that. Technically, this is a pullback to the EMA after coming off that trend line, but with that overshoot and the fact that it's a failed second entry short, I like going long just to ride it back to here, and you may get another chance to go short up here. Um, but you definitely probably want to wait on a good setup and a second entry or something. So you actually get a first entry right here, and that's tempting as heck. Because of this overshoot and the fact that this is in the overnight, I would wait on a second entry or a trap or something. And in the end, this is just a short trap. So if you did go short there, you got trapped, and the only thing you can do is exit. And then notice we push on up with we actually get this first leg up, correction, second leg up, and we just kind of start going sideways. And we're a good bit away from the EMA now. And that's another reason why you wouldn't want to go long there, even though there's probably a trap. You just want to kind of wait and see if you get a short. Generally, you're better off to wait on the lower high, but I think you're safe here because there's been some resistance right along there earlier. And notice there, and then we find it there again, and we actually push up a little bit. And that's a big bearish bar, so I like going short just to at least try to get back to the EMA, but we're probably going to come back down and try to test that low. And you don't know that it's going to take off like this, but it does. There is a lower high here. Let me make this a little bigger now. But it's too bullish. So wait on that reversal pattern. We push on through, we pull back. You get the reversal pattern here, but look how long we've been away from the EMA. It is back along that down sloping trend line, but this pattern's been good to us, and you got two legs down, and it's trying to bounce, and it doesn't, and it turns down right off that key entry point. It was really kind of hard to know if that was the right spot. You could have played this here, or you could have played it here. If you play it up here off that close, I just played it off the high. But we overshot it here, but it turns down perfectly here and even down here. So, but this is a failed second entry long, and you really got a little bit more than two measured legs down. So you might consider that one because that pattern's been good to us. But again, it's not a perfect setup, just like this one wasn't a perfect setup because it's right back into the trend line. Although you do have room to scalp out there, it's just not ideal. So you'd rather it come back and be off the EMA or something like that. But if you took it, it turns out to be a great trade. But it's aggressive. I probably wouldn't take that trade personally, but there it is. So I'm going to mark it green. Of course, now you move down, you make a new low, so you might get a reversal here. And notice you get a break here, and then you get another turn down here. So you could look at that one like a failed second entry long as well. But again, it's right back into that trend line. It's right into those highs right there. I'd probably wait It does fail, but again, I don't know if I'd want to take a failure there yet or not either. So, especially not with a really good signal bar. So I'd wait and see if maybe we get a lower high, and of course we do right here, and that's a nice bearish bar, and it actually broke higher and turned out. It didn't go out the other side, but that's a huge bar, and so is this one. The volatility seems to be coming back again the last 2 days. So if you want to trade here, you got to take it like it is. Just make sure you got enough room to get out before here, and it ends up going a little further, and it just kind of keeps working sideways. This one is really tempting, but it's right into the EMA. Same thing here. This one's really tempting. It's a failed break lower, but you really need to wait on that higher low, especially with the overall trend being down and still being a slightly downward bias. But so you finally get a lower high here, and it's right back off those lows. Nice bullish bar. You got plenty of room to get out. I like that one. You push up here to the high, and then you come back. You actually get a close outside. You actually get a little bit of a close outside, but you could maybe argue to draw that one over a little bit more at an angle. It's really kind of hard to find a trend up here that looks good on both sides. You might argue for that one right there as well, and that one may fit a little better on both sides. Just looking at it, I believe that it does. None of them really fit great, but I guess that one fits better. You can see that right there. It's just more sideways than anything, and we're just probably headed back to the upper side. And so you get that first high here, but then it makes a little higher high, and you could actually argue for that one maybe to be green as well if you drew it like this. If you drew it like I originally had it drawn, you would have had a close outside and a new high here. But you could probably argue for both of those to be green, and either one of them would have worked. But they're just not very good setups with the bigger picture still being bearish as well. And we're just kind of going sideways here. Of course, so you're better off to wait on a lower high here, just like you did right here. And you finally get that here, big bearish bar, go short there, and you're good. And of course, it bounces down here. And actually, this is a double test here as well. And so that's another reason. If this would have made a lower high, I probably would have liked this one better. But it wasn't. It made a little higher high than that one. So this is your first lower high. And then of course it drops down, and now you got two legs down, and this is a second entry long, another nice bullish bar that bounces off the lows of this range. I like that one. You don't know that it's going to take off like that, but it does. And then so wait and see if you get that reversal pattern, and then there's your first entry short, second entry short, pretty much bouncing off the EMA, a little double bottom there, a nice bullish bar, and that's really a second entry long counting off the high as well. So I like that one. Hopefully you're going to catch that move all the way up, or maybe you're going to catch a reversal, and off it goes. You didn't get a really big runner off this one, and it comes back again here, but I don't think you want to enter there. Too negative of a bar. First entry, it pushes on up again, and then finally it comes back, and you get two pushes down here, and it's a double test of that level. Nice bullish bar. And you could almost call this it's a move down, a move up, a move down, a move up. There's probably a hidden second entry there. There was no probably to it. There is a hidden second entry there. So you might go long on that one. There's a little bit of congestion there, but you're making a lower low. You're just making equal highs here. So if it does break above that, there's a good chance it may jump on up real quick. And of course it does take off. And another thing too, I originally had this drawn like a spiking channel, but when it dropped down, I just moved it an equal distance to that end, and look how it bounces to the tick. And so I like that because of that reason. And this was looking like a channel here, so when it went higher, I'd make an equal distance here, and of course that's where it went to. Even though there's a two-tier channel here, this is your bigger pattern, the bigger one, and notice we can't get outside of it on that one. So you're moving up, you finally get a lower high here, and this is where you had kind of had your last or most of your resistance earlier. So that's where I had the line drawn at that point in time. And so you get a little failed break higher there. You get a failed second entry long. You get a big bearish bar, lower high than this one. You've had a close, move to you actually didn't move to a new high here, but you got the the resistance here and you got the upper part of that channel, I think that's enough to take it short here, hoping we at least come back to the midline, and maybe we go to the other side. And it does. It pushes right on through the midline, comes back, and gives you a failed first entry, pulls down, pulls back again, and gives you that failed second entry. That's a really neutral bar. However, you would expect prices to be coming to this low. And so it's right, it confirms that trend line, failed second entry long. I like going short there. Pretty nice entry. And then, of course, we bounce down here. There's a low. We get a close outside, move to a new low. Then you get a double bottom, and it actually goes lower and turns up, but it's right into that EMA. So wait on the true pattern. It pushes on through, pulls back, gives you that failed second entry long or short. So I like going long right there. This one's slow about taking off, but it keeps on going, and hopefully maybe it's headed to the other side. We finally get a break here, though, and look what happens. You get two legs down, so this is the second entry long right at the EMA. You're still looking for prices to go up here, and you're still looking for prices to try to make a retest of this high, and so I like that one. And it does. It pushes up, gives you a pretty nice move, and then it just drops again. So now you're just kind of going sideways in the middle here. Probably best just to sit tight and see what happens. You would expect prices to maybe go up here. If you measure that first leg up, and if you get a measured move up, your target is right there, and you get a perfect move up, and it starts heading down. So based on that measured move, I still would expect prices to try to go up here. And there is a second entry long here, but it's right into that EMA. And you've already had a close and a new high, so and that's back kind of in the middle of stuff, so I would kind of sit there and just see what happens. And when you get that second entry long that fails in that big bearish bar and a lower high, and I like going short right there. There's plenty of room out here, and you could argue for that one, but the fact that we had a close outside this shorter term one right here and a new high, I'd probably skip that one. But you could probably argue for it to be green at the minimum. But I like to go short here. You get another push up here, but the bar's too bullish. And this actually made a new high over this one. So when it comes back here again and gives you a failed second entry long with that big bearish bar, I like going short again. And there's another nice entry. And then notice what happened. Even though we had two legs up and we didn't get to the high, we didn't come back to the bottom, we started trending higher again, trying to go up. And that's because generally prices will come off the low and then go to the high. And so even though we were having a hard time getting there right here, we still got there. A lot of people were looking at this as a range. Until to this point, you could have really played it as a range almost and probably done just as well. But I think this was the more dominant pattern, because we end up pushing through without going back to the other side. When it bounced right here and confirmed this trend line, that's when you wanted to switch over to this channel. But you get that reversal pattern here. It's not back to the EMA. Notice that low, first entry, second entry. So, but it does bounce right off that support resistance line that I'd had earlier. So you might consider that one. It's a good trade, but it's just not a perfect setup. And I didn't really see anything else here that I liked. This was that one more pullback that you might sometimes, but then you're right into all that resistance. So I didn't like that one either, really. Breakout pullback long here, but now you're up here and where you haven't really traded much all day. And so I don't, it does turn down and turn back up, but I'm not crazy about it. So I think this was the last possible trade that you would have taken, and I'd just sit tight the rest of the day. So yeah, not a bad trading day. And again, I had to kind of rush through this one, but it looks somewhat like a range day. But in the end, I believe this was a reversal, even if it's only a correction in the bigger, in the bigger picture, looking at multiple days. But for today, it was a reversal pattern. We continued trading down, found a bottom, and we reversed and traded up the rest of the day. So I'd call that a reversal day. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap up our week, but I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.